Hi, welcome to the ETL and Informatica session. I'm Savita. Today's session we will understand loading the multiple flat files into a single target and then backup all the source files. With this example, you will understand the term indirect loading, importing a flat file, understand a simple mapping, few DOS commands, writing and executing script files using the command task. Before we start, let's understand the scenario for this example. Consider department data coming from multiple uh, sources like flat files. Suppose we have multiple flat files and then we have to load all of those flat files into one single target. Consider S1, S2, S3 as the source files coming in, and we have to load all of the source files to the one single target, say T1. And then we have to copy all of the source files to a backup directory. So in this case, I will create a backup directory or a folder by name department and the sysdate. So today is 24, so it would be department hyphen 24. For next day, so it would create the next like department hyphen 25. So it will create a folder and then copy all of these files to the separate folders each time the data load. That basically this load would be every day. So every day it will create one folder and then load the copy all of those files to the backup folder. So let's start understanding it by creating the mapping. Okay, so so this is a simple plain mapping. There is no other transformation used. I'm only using the source qualifier and the target definition. Okay, so source qualifier basically it will load the data from the source, and then target definition is basically loading the data to the target system. Target, so either the target would be a flat file, a Oracle, or XML. So basically this is in current example I have the source as the flat file and the target is also a flat file. Okay, so now in this example, as we have multiple flat files, let me first show you the flat files, the sources. So this is a source directory. Okay, in this directory I have one more folder as department source files. Okay, so these are the flat files, the source files, department 1, department 2, department 3 and department 4. So these are the four flat files what I have as the sources. So in this example, first thing what we have to create is we have to create a department list like what I have here. I have one more flat file where I am noting down all of the files to be loaded, right, from department 1, department 2, department 3 and department 4. Okay, in case I have any other file or I have to remove this file, I can simply remove it from the list, right? So this is department 4. If I have to have one more file, I'll just create it as department, say 5. Okay, and in this I'll have to just make a note of the new file, that is I have to make an entry. So this is department 5. Okay, so this is department 5. This is what we have to do. So let me save this and just change some data in department 5. So let me change it as say 5 and 5. Okay, so this is just a dummy data. Okay, so this is what I have 1 2 3 4 5 in this department. This is 11 12 22 23 24, and in 3 I have 1 1 1 2 2 2, and department 4 I have 3 1 1. Let me make it as 4. Okay, so this is 4 4 4 what I have. Okay, And then in department 5 I have 5511, 522, 533, 54. Okay, so this is what the source I have. So as I said, this is a plain mapping. I'm not using any of the transformations for any data change here. It is just getting the data and loading to the target. Okay, so how do we import the flat as a source file? So go to the source analyzer, go import flat files. Okay, so as all of the files have the same data structure, so you can just import one of them. Okay, so all of them having the same structure in sense all the files have the same number of columns and the data type. So I can just click any one of them and say import. Okay, so import, basically in this flat files I don't have the headers, so I'm just importing from the start row from 1. Okay, now next is the delimiter. So in this case the delimiter was comma, so I'm giving it as a comma. If you have any other thing like uh, pipe or symbol, so you can mention it over here. Okay, so this pipeline or something, you can just mention it over, so it will get act as a delimiter. Okay, so next here you can mention the column names and the data type. Okay, so this is what is how we import the flat file. So I am not going to say yes because I already have it. Okay, so this is what I have already have the flat file. Okay, let me get into the mapping. So this is the source what I have. You have to, after you import it, you have to simply go and drag and drop from the source. Fine, so this is done. Okay, the target definition and connect to the target definition. Okay, so now once you are done this, you have to simply validate. This is a good practice to always validate your mapping once you have done. Okay, so validate it and then you create a generate a workflow. So either you generate a workflow from here or you can go into the workflow manager and create the workflow. Okay, so generating a workflow is nothing but we have a wizard which comes in and then you can select the options and give the names here. So this is basically coming from department source and then the source and the target informations will be provided here. Here is basically creating the workflow name. Okay, just create it with something too as I already have. Okay, so basically give the workflow name and then say next. Workflow is created. Okay, so now let's go to the workflow manager. Okay, so I have a workflow here with a session and the basically only the session task. Okay, we have the workflow with the session. So in this session, let me just get into it, edit, and then we have several tabs here. Go to the mapping section, source and target. So source is basically, this is the option which you have to note down. Okay, here we have by default the source file type would be direct. You have to make it as indirect. Okay, so basically by default it would be direct. You have to change it to indirect and then you have to give the source directory. So source directory is my department source file, right? So this is my source directory. You have to give this path. Okay, so you have to mention the path there. Okay, so it is infra shared source directory, right? And then you have to, in the source file name, you have to mention the department list. So department list is nothing but the data what information about all the flat files, right? Department list, you have to mention the department list here, right? So indirect, the source file path and the department list. These are the three information which you have to give for this kind of indirect loading, right? So I say okay and then this is done. Save and start the workflow. Okay, it is already succeeded. One more thing, let me just show you. I showed you the source, right? Source I have showed, but target is also same. I just have given the name as department.txt. So this is the flat file where the data will get loaded, right? I have created a department.txt. So it will go and save into the target directory. Okay, let's go and open the target. So this is the target directory, and there you can see the department file. So look at this, the data 555432 1. This is what the data is. Let me show you. See, 1 2, okay, 3, okay, 4 and 5. See, 111 is the fifth department and 44 is the fourth. So this is what the data is loaded into the one single target table. We can also load it to target table. For this example, I have loaded it in the flat file. Okay, in our regular examples, we will try loading into our flat, target table and see with other transformation logic into that. Okay, so now the loading part is done. Now we have to back up the source file. So now back up the source files, right? So let's see how do we do that. Okay, so workflow has many tasks. Okay, so basically I have a session task, command task, decision task, event task, email task, timer. There are different tasks here. In currently I'll be using a command task to take the backup. So I have a command task here. Okay, so how do you get it? Just create, go to command and then enter and say create. So it will create a command task. Okay, so I already have it here. Let me just link it. Okay, now what is there in this command task? Command task is basically to execute the commands. Okay, so okay, so there are many ways of backing up the files. For now we'll just see few commands here, like I will create a folder and then copy the files. So basically I have taken this to show you few commands. So I'm just making it in a round, like as I said, there are different ways to do this. For me, for now, I will just use a way of first we'll create a folder and then we will copy the files into this particular newly created folder. So now make directory is the command. Okay, mkdir is a command. Okay, and then I am creating that directory in this particular location. This is infra underscore working folder backup, and the name would be department hyphen, and this is the format. Basically date is the function which will give you the current date, and with this particular format it will give the current date. Let's see it in the command prompt. So let me open the command prompt. Say what would happen is echo date. Okay, so in this case, see, look at this. What I'm getting is Wednesday 02/24/2016. This is what information I'm getting. Now let me change it to what I have. So what I have is date colon This is what I have, right? So let me enter and check. So I'm getting 24. What is 24? 24 is basically current today's date. So how am I getting it? It is taking from the seventh position and two characters. So basically it is taking from 7, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 24 and I'm taking two digits, right? So it is giving me 24, right? So what it would create is basically it will create, sorry, look at this, it would create as department hyphen 24, right? This particular command. Okay, so fine, then we are using a copy command. Okay, copy command. Okay, so copy command, what is it doing? Okay, here copy command is basically it is copying the files from the source directory and copying it into the newly created directory. So I am giving the directory name like this. So whatever created, it will go and save into the currently created folder. Okay, so cancel. So okay, so say let's apply and then say okay. Now first let me show you the backup folder where it will save. Okay, so this is my working folder and this is the backup, right? This is the folder. I don't have any folders over here. Okay, now let's run the start the workflow. Okay, okay, let's go to the workflow monitor. Look at this, session has succeeded, start, and then this command task is also succeeded. Let's go to the backup folder and say, look at this, we have got department 24, right? And all the files are there in this department 2, department 3, 4, 5, and a folder is created by department hyphen 24. Okay, so this is one scenario. And just moving, I just showed you with using two commands, right? We can also have a batch script, okay, and then just call the batch script here and then create the folder structure. So let's show you the, okay, here in this case I'm just calling a, look at this, I'm just forget about this, yeah, look at this, I'm just calling a batch script c dot batch bat, okay, and then it will do the same this one as what we have, it will execute the same commands as what we have. So let me just show you what is there in this batch script. Okay, this is the script. Open. Okay, so here it is, these are the comments, and basically what this is doing is it is checking if the file exists. Okay, if the file exists, it will sorry, if the folder exists, okay, then it will simply copy the files. If the folder doesn't exist, then it will create the or create the folder. So this is what is written in the batch script. When you execute that, you will get a structure. In this case, I have given a different folder structure name, that is test. I test2 here, test2 here. So if I run this mapping, I will get one more folder says test2 here. So this is basically executing using a batch script. Okay, so there are many more examples in our regular classes. So okay, this is one of them, and yeah, this is the scenario how you create how you know load multiple flat files into single target and then take the backup of these source files. So thank you for watching. Bye.